Good morning. Thank you. My name is Rebecca Fisher, and on behalf of First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, Delaware, I welcome you to our online and in-person worship service. Today, come roll up for the mystery tour. Everyone is welcome on this bus, no matter your beliefs or disbeliefs, no matter your age, no matter who you count as family, no matter who you love. It doesn't even matter if you can buy a ticket. And it doesn't matter where in your journey you are climbing on board this bus. Unitarian Universalists, in fact, include many sources of wisdom in our living tradition. And the first listed is, and I quote, direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. And our Soul Matter theme this month focuses on mystery. To learn more about Unitarian Universalism and about the First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, visit our website, firstuuwilm.org, and sign up for our e-news, and you'll get a weekly email about the work and activities of this congregation. In fact, if you're joining us in the chat, and you're live in the chat online, you can find a link, I hope. We should find a link that'll lead you to a brief form to sign up for our newsletter. Super easy. It's a convenient way to learn about our ongoing activities. Well, it's no mystery that after the service in the afternoon at 3 o'clock today, there is a holiday concert and sing-along with the Diamond State Concert Band. And I'm really looking forward to it. It sounds like a lot of fun. And they'll also, literally sweeten the deal, there's a reception in the parish hall, which I know for a fact features a lot of cookies. We're also asking, admission is free, but we're asking that you bring some food in storable form, cans or boxes, to donate to the Food Bank of Delaware. We'll have a collection. And now, let us prepare our hearts and minds for worship.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Larry Piers. Thanks for swimming in and joining us today. You might need to wring yourself out, just squeeze, get all that water out. It'll be holy water that you're using to bless this space, and it is a blessing to see each of you. During the month of December, we will be celebrating the holidays in many different ways, drawing upon the different sources of our living tradition. And as Rebecca indicated this Sunday, we're really focusing primarily on that transcending mystery and wonder that we can have a direct experience of. So our call to worship comes from the Navajo. Beauty is before me, and beauty is behind me. Beauty is above me, and beauty is below me. It hovers in the beautiful. I'm surrounded by it, I am immersed in it, And in my youth, I'm aware of it, and in my old age, I shall walk quietly the beautiful trail. In beauty, it is begun. In beauty, it is ending.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join us by lighting it now. And if you are able to put something in the chat, you could chime in at this point. The chalice is lit in wherever you are, even if it's in your heart. These words are adapted from the Hanukkah candle blessing used by the secular Jewish community of Oak Park, Illinois. Blessed is the light of the mystery that has kept us in life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this season. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 92, Mysterious Presence, Source of All. And after singing, please remain standing for our unison affirmation. Affirming our mission. See if you know it by heart. We say it every week because it's kind of the core. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
Today, our journey of Advent begins with our Christian siblings from around the world. So, as Susie comes up to light the Advent wreath, Susie Cornell, let's take a pause. A pause to sense our longing for wonder. May this candle remind us of our longing to light the path of our own heart, to fill our heart with wonder and compassion, as we attend to all that calls our heart to response. Thank you, Susie. This is a poem by Denise Levertov entitled Primary Wonder. Days pass when I forget the mystery. Problems insoluble and problems offering their own ignored solution jostle for my attention. They crowd its antechamber along with a host of diversions. My courtiers wearing their colored clothes, cap and bells. And then once more, the quiet mystery is present to me. The throng's clamor recedes. The mystery that there is anything at all, let alone cosmos and joy and memory, everything rather than void. And that, O Lord, Creator, hallowed one, you still, hour by hour, sustain it. Let's join together now in a time of attending to the concerns that we might be holding in our own heart for ourselves, for those we love, and for our world. Let's also think about those joys that might be igniting and warming our heart on this day as well. And in a moment, we'll have a chance for you to speak those concerns or those joys in this room. But first, let's listen to our own heart. What are the concerns that you carry with you in your own heart on this day? And if you care to, you may speak them aloud in this room so that you need not hold them alone, or you may write them in the chat. What are your concerns this day?
Beverly Baxter, Charlotte. My sister Dottie and her health. Ukrainians, Israelis, Palestinians. Democracy.
May we feel the weight of those concerns in this room and know that we do not have to carry that weight alone, that we can carry it alongside of one another and in the presence of all that is holy and just and peaceful. Is there a joy? Is there a joy that is igniting in your heart today? Something that lightens your load, something that brings you a sense of joy in life for yourself, for those you love, or in our broader world. A joy. Anybody have a joy? Do I hear a joy?
It's December, it's Christmas season.
Okay, it's Christmas season.
We're brainstorming a new project for a little library for the Southbridge Community Center, and it's been really interesting and exciting to see the reach and breadth of that.
Okay, a little library being made. Other joys.
My son Andrew.
Yes, great to see you, Andrew. So glad you could be here today. Wonderful. We get to share in that joy.
Being part of the 8-year-old's birthday party.
Nice. And was there another one here?
Christmas concerts.
Christmas concert, yeah. So our joys and our sorrows are woven together as we hold one another in this caring, compassionate community. May all the names that were spoken and those unspoken find peace and healing this day.
The reading this morning is from the script of the play, The Search for Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe. At this point in the play, Lily Tomlin's character, the bag lady, is sharing about one of her imaginary escapades with aliens. And she says, "Next, they insisted that I take them somewhere so they could get goosebumps. They were dying to see what it was like. I decided maybe we should take in a play. I got goosebumps once that way. So we headed back toward Schubert Alley. On the way to the play, we stopped to look at the stars. And as usual, I felt in awe. And then I felt even deeper in awe at this capacity we have to be in awe about something. And then I became even more awestruck at the thought that I was, in some small way, a part of that which I was in awe about. And this feeling went on and on and on. My space chums got a word for it. Awe infinitum. Because at this point, you can comprehend how incomprehensible it all is. You're about as smart as you need to be. And suddenly, I burst into song. Ah, sweet mystery of life, at last I found thee. And I felt so good inside. My heart felt so full. I decided I would set a time aside each day to do awe-robics. Because at the moment you are most in awe of all there is about life that you don't understand, you are closer to understanding it than at any other time.
Thank you, Rebecca. So you've just heard from Trudy, one of the 12 characters, all played by Lily Tomlin, in Jane Wagner's play In Search for Signs for Intelligent Life in the Universe. In the play, as you see, Trudy she's a former advertising executive who's become unhoused and who is in contact with aliens through her umbrella hat, which serves as a kind of satellite dish. These extraterrestrials are trying to understand the human condition. In this scene, Trudy is taking the extraterrestrials somewhere where they can experience goosebumps. And since it worked for her once, she thinks, perhaps I'll take them to the theater. And along the way to the theater, Trudy becomes awestruck while looking at the stars. Trudy says, and when I felt even deeper in awe at this capacity we have to be in awe about something. Trudy recognizes that awe doesn't have to be this random event, that perhaps she could practice awe-robics. Perhaps any one of us could practice awe-robics. Let's practice right now. You are great at it. So, the capacity to experience awe is fundamental to our human experience. In fact, it may be more common than we think. When asked to track experiences of awe in everyday life, A majority of people say they have at least 2 or 3 experiences of awe a week. Although we might not talk about it that much, we do know that poets and visual artists, dancers and religious figures, writers, musicians often experience and also provoke in us feelings of awe. The experience of awe transcends cultures and time. The experience of awe may be fleeting, elusive, or evanescent. It often arrives in an unexpected way from almost anywhere. It can occur in ordinary, everyday spaces, on a regular walk, in a moment of watching a child play, or in merely waking up on a particular day and being amazed that there is something like wakefulness. Denise Levertov stated it this way: the mystery that there is anything at all, let alone cosmos, joy, memory, existing rather than void, that itself provokes a sense of awe when we're attuned to it. Awe can occur to us, obviously, in extraordinary moments as well, at the birth of a child or the death of a loved one, at the conclusion of a concert, or in the midst of a dance. Awe can happen at particular places, such as standing before a sunset or a waterfall, as happens to several of us this past week. It all can also happen when seeing a bright, glorious full moon that seemed to hold our unwavering attention just a little longer and subtly whisper to us about life's magnificence. How many of you saw that moon this week? Our experience of awe may occur in just a few transitory moments, and yet those moments could be moments that linger deep and long within us even after the experience dissipates. Awe finds expression in a reverent silence, an ecstatic dance, within resonating music or song, or even with a huddle with a loved one by a fireplace on a cold winter night. It can be described as eloquently as the scientist Albert Einstein did, who said it this way: the most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion which stands at the cradle of true art and science. Or it can be expressed in one spontaneous word such as "whoa" or "oh my God," as did the man who captured his experience of a double rainbow at Yosemite, a video viewed by 50 million people. I don't know how many of you have seen that video. Yeah, okay. Teddy Roosevelt, from his particular lookout point in the valley nearby, observed it was like lying in a great solemn cathedral, far vaster and more beautiful than any built by the hand of a man, of humans. And awe can even be experienced without words, in the physical experience of chills, or as in the reading of Trudy, who was in search for goosebump experience for her extraterrestrial friends. Jane Goodall, in her short video Waterfall Display, demonstrates that even when a solitary chimpanzee approaches a roaring waterfall, that he moves, he sways, he seems to dance and swing from one limb to another. He's taken over by a rhythm, and his fur fluffs up with his own chimpanzee type of goosebumps. Joan Goodall speculates, "I can't help but feel that this waterfall display or dance is triggered by feelings of awe, wonder that we feel. Why wouldn't they, the chimpanzees, also have feelings of some kind of spirituality, which is really being amazed at things outside of oneself. Given the pervasiveness and ordinariness of awe, it's no doubt that you have had your own experiences of awe. Before I go any further, I'd like to ask each of us to recall those moments of what we would call our own awe experiences. You don't have to fit into anyone's definition at this point. They can be moments of supreme grandeur or the most simple moments of awe. So take a moment now and recollect your own experiences of awe. Allow yourself to recall those moments. Let them be like embers within us that can once again warm our heart or ignite our imagination. Notice as well what you may need to clear away in order to recover those experiences of awe within you. Notice how accessible or inaccessible they might feel to you in this moment. Whatever occurred to you in that moment is okay. This won't be the only time you can practice this recalling of moments of awe. As a matter of fact, this week, maybe take some time and try to recall those experiences of awe, however grand or simple, that you have actually and directly experienced in your own life. Will you try that? Good. You always do what I say, even if you don't. The experience of awe can be a simple and also a complex emotion, which can arise out of situations that might not always be considered wondrous. If you know some of the history of contemporary psychology, it would be more accurate to say it is only relatively recently that psychology has ventured to scientifically and seriously study emotions. Now, trained in psychology as I have through the strict behaviorist era and the so-called third wave of cognitive psychology, emotions were oftentimes approached with some skepticism. Not so much anymore. Philosophically, and even among some religious perspectives, emotions have been considered as lower and animalistic, not up to par with humanity's lofty, highest achievement, reason. However, with new ways to measure the brain, the body, physical responses, and muscular responses, the chills or goosebumps, there has even more recently been a scientific study and a cross-cultural exploration of the human emotion we call awe. Dr. Keltner, a renowned expert in the scientific study of emotions, a psychology professor at the University of California in Berkeley, had been engaged in this study of emotions for some time. But Keltner was directed specifically towards the study of awe as a result of his experience of being with his brother, Rolf, as his brother was dying of colon cancer. Keltner described that experience of his family gathering around Rolf in his final hours in this way. I sensed a light radiating from Rolf's face. It pulsated in concentric circles, spreading outward, touching us as we leaned in with slightly bowed heads. The chatter in my mind, clasping words about the stages of colon cancer, new treatments, lymph nodes, and survival rates, faded. I could sense a force around his body, pulling him away. And I could sense questions in my own mind. What is Rolf thinking? What is Rolf feeling? What does it mean for him to die? And a voice in my mind said, I feel awe. Upon further reflection after Rolf's passing, Keltner writes, I saw the wonders of the world through Rolf's eyes. With his passing, I felt awe less. And my companion in awe was no longer around to help me make sense of the vastest mystery I had encountered in my 57 years of living. And then a loud voice called out within me that said, find awe. And find awe, Keltner did. He has spent a number of concentrated years since then in the study of awe, and in the process of studying also found awe along the way. In his book entitled Awe, the New Science of Everyday Wonder and How It Can Transform Your Life, Keltner studies the science of awe, the cultural archives of awe, and personal experiences of awe after listening to the stories of people from many cultures and settings, including the incarcerated men that he works with in a restorative justice program in San Quentin State Prison. Now, of course, the study of awe does present some particular challenges for the scientist. Like, how would a scientist study awe in a lab? Or how could scientists lead people to feel awe on cue, right? So even then, how could scientists be able to measure its ineffable qualities or document how awe transforms our lives, if indeed it does? Unlike the study of other emotions that tend to focus on individual and self-preservation, Keltner claims that awe seems to orient us to devote ourselves to thinking outside of our individual selves, to sacrifice and serve, to sense that the boundaries between our individual selves and the others readily dissolve, and that our true nature is collective. This led to a definition of awe that Keltner and his collaborator, Jonathan Haidt, crafted by reading personal accounts of people throughout history, the mystics and others, anthropologists, and the accounts of those who've shared personal experiences of awe through music or dance or art or religious or spiritual experiences within nature. And they defined awe as the feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends your current understanding of the world. Since that will be on the exam, I'm going to read it one more time. Awe is the feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends your current understanding of the world. Now, at first, this may seem lofty, obscure, and rare. In fact, it's more commonplace than we think, I believe, when we allow ourselves to actually notice it. So how did they arrive at this understanding? Well, following the example of William James, a psychologist of an earlier century, in his classic work, The Varieties of Religious Experience, they decided to take an approach of gathering the stories of people. They asked people this question and deeply listened to the stories that they told. The question was this: What is an experience of awe that you have had when you encountered a vast mystery that transcends your understanding of the world? They studied the stories of awe from 20 different languages, 2,600 people, and they were able to discern what most people described as their experience of awe. Curious? So there were at least 8 categories, and most of these categories of the experience of awe won't surprise us. But perhaps most surprisingly, the most common stories they found that people told were those of other people's courage, kindness, and strength at overcoming something. They discovered that we are most likely to feel awe when moved by what Keltner calls moral beauty, the exceptional virtue, character, and ability, they write, to operate according to a different aesthetic, one marked by a purity and a goodness of intention and action, and moves us to awe. So there are other more common experiences that we might have attributed to awe, but this was the one that stood out for them as the most common and perhaps a little more surprising. I'll name the others later, but let's stay with this particular one now. So to illustrate, let me share some examples of this moral beauty that they quote in the book. For example, this story from a father of an adult child, when asked that question about awe, said, "The way my daughter dealt with the stillbirth of her son. I was with her at the hospital when he was delivered, and her strength in dealing with this left me in awe. My little girl grew up overnight and exhibited awesome strength and bravery during this difficult time." Can you see how awe could be a response to that experience? Or perhaps you can relate to this account. I certainly can. One person wrote this: "The first time I saw Schindler's List, the movie, the music and the performance of the main actor were insanely powerful, and the grim truth of human nature. All I wanted to do, and all I did the next few hours, was cry." Let me tell you how and why I can relate to this. When my spouse and I were dating, we had the bright idea to go see Schindler's List on New Year's Eve and then go out for a nice dinner. So, as you may know, the film tells the story of Oskar Schindler, a German industrialist who saved more than 1,000 mostly Polish Jewish refugees from the Holocaust by employing them in his factories during World War II. I cried through the whole movie for some of the very same reasons as the person who shared their experience in Keltner's research. Now, retrospectively, wisdom does arise. I guess it wasn't such a great movie to see on New Year's Eve. Somehow the words Happy New Year are hard to utter after viewing such a powerful, heart-wrenching, and even awe-inspiring film. Indeed, many people are often moved to an experience of awe in demonstration of human courage, kindness, or overcoming of obstacles, what Keltner calls moral beauty. In all, there are 8 wonders of life that Keltner discerns from his research on how people experience awe. That is just one of them. I can't fully explore each one of those here, but they do include experiences that many of us could resonate with as well. Experiences in nature. Yes? Experiences of music. Okay. Of art. At design, for example, awe at the design of a watch or a building. Okay. even experiences of what Keltner refers to as collective effervescence, or moving in unison with effort with others in dance or ritual or sports, pilgrimages, folk dances, political protest, or other events. Yeah. The renowned nature author and former marine biologist Rachel Carson much preferred writing about the strength and the resilience of nature. However, when she became aware of the dangers of the chemical spraying of DDT and other things that killed species and destroyed our natural habitat, she sat down to write her inflammatory and influential book, Silent Spring. Her previous books had been hymns to the interconnectedness of nature and all living things. And although she rarely used the term, Carson held an ecological view of nature, describing in precise yet poetic language the complex web of life that linked mollusks to seabirds to the fish swimming in the ocean's deepest and most inaccessible reaches. But this is why I'm bringing it up. While writing the book, Carson listened intentionally to Beethoven. She wrote, listening to Beethoven, the mood, because I suppose more creative and rather suddenly I understood what the anthology should be, the story that it should tell, the deep significance it might have. I suppose I can never explain it in words, but I think you understand without words. It was a mood of tremendous exaltation, and I wept. In fact, there are so many who become important social critics and advocates who have found their strength to care from a sense of awe that supported them to realize and then do their work. Sometimes awe arises as a spiritual and religious feeling in certain experiences of awe, which Keltner calls epiphany. One such epiphany happened to the 19th century Unitarian Margaret Fuller, who we've been studying in our class on taking a journey with the Transcendentalists this past week. So at the age of 21, Fuller had an experience of awe that began in the pews of a church. How interesting, huh? And then it continued outdoors, under what she called the sad clouds in a cold blue sky. And Fuller tells the story this way: I saw there was no self, that the selfishness was all folly and the result of circumstance, that it was only because I thought self real that I suffered, that I had only to live in the ideal of the all, and all was mine. That might feel a little esoteric to us, but for Fuller, to live in the idea of the all, at a time when gender roles were so strongly maintained, meant that she was launched into a life of empowerment and freedom that was not readily open to the women of her time. The awe experience in her epiphany propelled her into a life that she might otherwise not even discover. Similar stories could be told of Nelson Mandela or Maya Angelou, each who were not constrained by the default of the self of their constraining cultures, but emerged from an experience of awe to be strengthened and propelled to confront the systems of oppression. Indeed, we could say that what happens in an experience of awe is that our default self in our culture, which often focuses on how we are distinct from others, independent and always in control, in awe, we are sensitized to the understanding that we're actually interconnected, that we are formed and influenced by forces, coincidences, and people that are beyond our mere control. Recognize that all the people that have shaped and formed us, all the events and experiences that have shaped and formed who we are, and you may have an experience of awe as you reflect upon it. So, Keltner declares awe, it would seem, quiets that urgent voice of this default individualistic self. So to practice our aerobics, we do it not just for ourselves, but to emerge as the humans that we need to be in this time, recognizing our deep interconnection to all that is. To practice awe-robics may mean to take more walks in beauty so as to open ourselves up to wonder, to a wonder that can lure us into greater care for the common good. To practice awe-robics may mean to immerse ourselves in music and art so that our spirit is held as we do the important and courageous creative work that is ours to do. To practice awe-robics may mean that we embrace both life and death. Don't take either for granted, but appreciate the gift of each. To practice awe-robics may mean to find a time each day or on occasion to capture your notes of your everyday experiences of awe in a journal, in a drawing, or a conversation with another person. To practice awe-robics may mean we gather in congregations, in parks, in the silence at the break of a day, and allow ourselves to be open to the mystery that is all around us, deep within us, and among us. So during this season, may we embrace the wonder that is here for us to recognize, that emboldens us to create a more loving, compassionate, and justice-seeking world, one that can match our awe-inspired vision of the world. So may it be. Amen.
In any Unitarian Universalist congregation, you will encounter a variety of spiritual beliefs and practices. Well, that sounds really dry.
Have some water.
So, as Reverend Larry was speaking, I was reflecting on all the communities within this larger community where we come together and experience a sense of wonder and mystery. And I was thinking about Cindy's, the Vesper services that Cindy leads that give you that serene, soulful, a lot of times people cry. It touches you in a place. I was thinking of the upcoming winter solstice observances led by our earth-based practitioners in this community. We have a Buddhist Sangha that is centered here. And I'm thinking of Becky Laster's really moving testimony, can I call it that, a few weeks ago about the community here that is working to support a family of asylum seekers from Tanzania. And I have to say, most people here do believe in a higher power, but other people like myself are wholly atheistic. Being atheistic doesn't mean you're insensitive to awe. It's just that an understanding of God is irrelevant to my journey. But what does unite us is our faith that each individual can discover for themselves what their path is. And also, working with that individual search, just as important is our commitment to trust one another and to support one another in that discovery. So it turns out this bus we're on, I have to say, to experience all you need to do is stand by one of those amazing tulip poplars that grow in the Brandywine Valley. That's all you need to do. So it turns out this bus we're on is simultaneously making different stops and taking an individual route for each of us. And yet we're all on the same bus. And if that isn't a mystery, I don't know what is. So please give your generous support to this beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits. And if you're in the sanctuary, you may leave your offerings in the basket at the back as you leave. If you're joining us online, the ways to contribute will be on screen during the offertory. Please join me in dedicating our offering. To the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Lovely assistant, thank you. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of awe and mystery kindled in our hearts.
So following our benediction, we will sing together a closing hymn, 1066, O Brother, Son. Since this is new for us, we're going to have Cindy sing the first verse so we can learn it and hear it, and then we will sing the first verse after her and the second verse. Is that clear enough? Just say yes. Okay, good. All right. Those of you who are visiting today for the first time, please feel free to come up and introduce yourself to me. Kate has a yellow cape on in the back. She's like this, she's got the welcome cape, so you can talk with her. She'll answer all of your questions about First Unitarian Church. And also, I will have abbreviated from 12 to 12:30 soul conversation in the Warner room in the back next to the parish hall. It's kind of a sampling of our Soul Matters theme, the gift of mystery, this month. And so those of you who are interested, maybe haven't been to a Soul Matters group, this might be a way for you to kind of experience it. Even if you are in a Soul Matters group, you can have like a double dipping. Go to this and then go to your group this month. Don't forget of the concert today at 3 here. Okay. So, the benediction. O mystery, you are alive. You are all around. You are the fire in our hearts. You are the holy sound. O grant that we may feel you always in everything. O grant that we may feel you always in everything. Cindy.
Shining round in fiery might, Thank you.